Hi, friends. Welcome to a special bonus episode of That Sounds Fun. I'm your host, Annie F. Downs. I'm so happy to be here with you today. Today on the show, we actually wanted to bring you into a conversation we are having with Single Purpose League about loneliness, but specifically the level of loneliness for women in leadership. Whether you're single or married, I bet you can relate to this conversation. What we've noticed is that Single Purpose League consists of a lot of leaders, and many of whom are leading in ministry spaces. It's why we recently started SPL Leadership Mastermind, so our single female friends in ministry have a place to be encouraged and talk about the complexities of it all. Me and Ashley and Katie from our team sat down last week and recorded a conversation about the loneliness of leadership, specifically for Single Purpose League. But as we do from time to time, we felt like this one needed to be shared with everyone. This is one of those episodes I think you're going to want to text to a single friend or text to someone on your church staff or someone you know who is on the mission field. We cannot wait to hear what you think. Here's our Single Purpose League conversation about loneliness and leadership with my teammates, Ashley Warren and Katie Bowman. Hi, friends. Welcome to an episode of Single Purpose League. I am one of your hosts, the lesser of the two. I'm Annie F. Downs.
I don't like it when you say that.
It's just true, Katie. You do so much work. And you and Ashley are both here today, so
Hi.
my bosses.
That's right. It's a party. I'm your other host, Katie Boatman. And number one, how in the world are we coming up on the end of the year?
Oh my gosh.
I don't understand. I think
know.
it's wild. But number two, I feel like this time of year is when, because the days get a little darker, things start getting a little bit more lonely. At least for me, they totally can. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about loneliness.
I was on the road with Kane for 2 weeks straight. I didn't come home for 2 weeks. And I came home and I was like, oh, it's darker early. It happened so fast.
Yeah.
It felt crazy.
I know.
One of the things you and I have been talking a lot about, Katie, not only battling against loneliness in our singleness, but also particularly in leadership.
Yeah.
And what it looks like to identify loneliness in leadership and to pay attention to the fact that we say this a lot. I'll read it. Leading as a single woman may be complex, but it doesn't have to be lonely. And it feels, leadership as a single woman feels particularly challenging.
Yeah, it does. And earlier this year, we had a conversation with Bethany Allen.
Yes, I love her. Bethany Allen from Bridgetown Church.
I know, just the best. It's worth going back and listening to if you haven't. But y'all talked about just the complexities of leading as a single woman, and the response that we got from that episode really told us that this was something we need to lean into more and more.
It almost was like the birth of SPL came from an audience asking us. And then the birth of Leadership Mastermind came from this conversation with Bethany Allen and the response, because there are so many people in SPL that are leading in churches, on church staffs, in classrooms, in all sorts of ministry contexts, para churches.
On the mission field.
Yeah, we have so many women that are single, living across the globe, serving God in some way, alone in another country, everyone on a team, but not with a family necessarily in their home. So we kind of wanted to spend some time talking about that and digging into the loneliness in leadership that women, particularly single women, can feel. So
that's right.
It's why we invited Ashley to join us. Ashley is a part of our team and the boss. She's the COO here at AFD Inc.
The big boss.
And a huge, just an endless amount of knowledge and wisdom, particularly on leadership. And Ashley, you have led a lot of people through your career.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Equipping leaders, leading teams, working in ministry. So this is going to be a little bit of a roundtable with the three of us, kind of talking through what it looks like to lead well. And particularly as a single person, Ashley, you're married, but I do feel like you are pretty profoundly in tune because you live with us.
Well, y'all are so generous to me, the SPL community in general, and you two specifically, in inviting me into the conversations, even though I do sit in a slightly different seat. But I've found throughout my career, my single coworkers, the leaders leading alongside me, have been so generous is the word that comes to mind, but have really taught me so much, and supported me in journeys that I'm on that aren't necessarily shared. Like y'all listen to stories about my kids ad nauseum, and help me process in ways that like make me a better leader. So thanks.
And we love your husband, Matt. So I want to lead with, he is incredible. And is it true that you can be married and lonely in leadership?
100%.
Yeah.
In fact, we, for a little over a decade, led in different capacities on different teams, so like different departments at the same organization. And it was particularly tricky because I was in HR. There were a lot of things and he was on the executive team. There were just a lot of things, even within the same organization, we couldn't discuss with each other.
Right.
So not even, so there's a solitude in that. But then there's also, there's space for loneliness within marriage. Yeah. There's space for loneliness within leadership, even as a married person. Yeah. So,
because even in a world that I hope I get married someday, I'm not going to marry someone who comes into the office and leads with me. You know, like I'm not going to marry our new COO. Right. And so even when I do get married, and I hope I do, even when I do, he will have his own job, his own career, his own life, that while we will support each other at home, he can't help me make the decisions we make here that I make from 11 to 12. If we're making some big life decision for the company, there's processing with counselors and friends and whatever, but there's not like A or B. The three of us decide that, and Lillian and Jenna and whoever, you know. And so I think there's a little bit of particularly in my 20s, there was a little bit of a misunderstanding of I will only be lonely until I'm married. Mm-hmm. But then you're like, well, no, because your husband, Matt, is brilliant and he does not come to the workplace with you every day.
Right.
Yeah.
I've seen him here one time, I think. And so it is there's a little bit of an adjustment I made in my late 30s and early 40s of like, oh, some of this is going to feel lonely no matter what, because I will not marry my coworker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my question is, where is the place that you go to either talk about that or like process the feelings of that? Like what both of you are describing, if you had like confidential things that you couldn't discuss about work with Matt, what do you do with that? And like same with you, like there's such a beautiful thing about like the co-working team, but there's only so many things as the leader that you can talk to. So how do you manage that?
I think 97 out of 100 things I can tell Ashley. Uh-huh. So having a leader really near to you, and like 95 out of 100 I can tell you, you know, like there are the majority of decisions, and this is unique to our company. I'm not like tooting our own horn, but this is unique to our company that, and not every a church is not like this. And there are a lot of places that aren't like this where the staff has a lot of leadership. Everyone's in the C-suite.
Yeah, we have a pretty flat org chart.
Yeah.
Typically speaking, if you advance up in an org chart, there are fewer peers.
Yes.
So there are fewer opportunities to troubleshoot and process together.
That's right. Because those three that I can't process with Ashley in real time are always boogers.
Yeah.
I mean, they are like, what am I going to do? And so I will call Jenny Allen.
Mm-hmm. Like a peer who does a
similar thing to me. Yep. I'll call Jenny. I will talk to my counselor.
Yeah.
We have a business coach that I can call. I could call him. So there's like 3 or 4 people I could call. But the real Katie that I want to make sure we get to say is, and I've said this a lot in SPL, loneliness used to be an alarm for me, and now it's just a street sign.
Yeah.
And so it does not take me out. Used to be, and there are days where like, I mean, y'all walked the summer with me. August was profoundly hard for me in my personal life and professionally. And we had big decisions. And I had no one who could do all of that with me. And it was very hard.
Yeah.
And my solution is, okay, this is lonely.
Yeah.
Okay. You will make it. You will make it. I mean, you just will make it. You'll make it through the loneliest days of the thing you're doing.
Yeah.
And I'm on the other side in a lot of ways. We made a huge decision as a team last week. I literally cried and had diarrhea in about an hour window after we made that big decision because it was such a relief off my body.
Right.
I mean, I'm different this week than I was last week.
I believe that.
And that's been a stressor since April of 24.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that is a long time. So the hardest days of loneliness may make you cry and may be really hard. They are not an alarm most of the time. When do you think loneliness is an alarm? Not just a street sign telling you something important.
Can I counter your question with a question?
Sure.
Can I back us up a little bit to before we identify something as lonely? I think there might be a little bit of, as your resident Enneagram 2,
Yes.
Quick access to feelings.
Yes.
Well, first of all, the most difficult and the most rewarding person you ever get to lead is yourself. And before we get to I'm lonely and it's an alarm, I think there are some self-leadership questions to dig into.
Oh, go.
Like,
we need you.
Because sometimes I think that loneliness becomes a catch-all for, am I sad? Am I angry?
Yeah.
Am I tired?
Yeah.
Am
I hungry?
I overwhelmed? Well, yeah, there is that little acronym HALT.
Yeah.
Hungry, angry, lonely, tired.
Yep.
But I think particularly in leadership, overwhelmed is an important one to pay attention to. Angry is an important one to pay attention to. And all of those things need something different than what loneliness needs.
Wow.
Like sadness needs comfort. Tired needs rest.
Yes.
Overwhelmed probably needs a renegotiation. Like, I need something off my plate. Or it needs a reassurance. Like, I'm the right woman for this job and I can walk into it with humble confidence. So before we label it lonely, I want us just to take a beat and decide if there's something else we need to ask for.
Yeah.
Because I think that then we can ask more specifically, more appropriately, and lead ourselves with a little more grace and gentleness.
Yeah.
In that.
I think that's really wise because I think what happens in my life is usually I notice the action first before the feeling. Like I notice like, why am I making that decision? Or like, why am I like going through my phone and just seeing like, who should I text right now? And I have to pause and be like, okay, what am I doing and why am I doing it? And usually it's like, oh, I'm feeling kind of lonely, but it's because I'm sad about blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
Or I am like stressed and therefore I'm finding some kind of relief in seeing if this guy will text me back or, something like that. And so I think that's really wise. And that's where I have to like follow the trail,
right.
And figure out what the root of this is.
Yeah.
Because I think you're right, Annie, that if it's just that I'm feeling a little bit lonely, like I don't think I need to sound the alarm unless I'm making destructive decisions. That's when I am like, okay, this is the problem.
If you're doing anything addictive, if you're doing anything secretive.
Yes.
Because I think one of the things that gets really scary for leaders is I sinned, I screwed up because I'm lonely. I can't tell anybody, but I'll never do it again. And if I ever do it again, I'll tell. And that is a lie to yourself because you will do it again and you won't tell and you'll do it again and you won't tell. And then suddenly you're living a lifestyle of sin and you're a leader and it could cost you everything for a season. And all of that is because you made a little yes in a lonely moment that has snowballed into a bigger yes.
Right.
Repeatedly.
Right.
Yeah. I can do that in a heartbeat, which is why, I've said this 1,000 times. It's why I tell my mentor, Nancy, when I bring Oreos in my house, because I don't do anything secretive because I have been a secretive person in the past and it absolutely blew up. Mm-hmm. And it does not serve me.
Right.
And so now it's like, nope, Nancy knows Oreos because the Oreos are the start. Oreos are not the problem. If I start bringing food in my house because I'm lonely, because I'm sad, or if I'm lonely in my anger, or if I'm lonely in my leadership, if I'm crushing Oreos and not telling anybody, then I'm like 3 steps away from doing real sin that needs repentance. And I don't want to walk toward that.
Yeah. But that is leadership of yourself too.
Yeah.
Like that you've learned that about yourself and you know like the warning signs to be like, and here is the next step that I need to take in order to hold myself accountable, which comes with time and maturity and growth. You know, like me in my 20s had not a clue. Yeah. I remember sitting in a counselor's office. I think I was like late 20s. And I did not know what I was feeling and experiencing, but I knew something was off, you know? And I'm like explaining to her the scenario. And she was like, oh, you're lonely. And literally I was like, what? Like, because she had figured out how to get from A to Z, like the answer and the root. Wow. And I was still stuck on like ABC. Like I am numbing out on the couch all day and like people are texting and offering. And I'm like, I don't think so, you know? And she's like, you are numbing out instead of like getting up and taking initiative and like whatever. But all that to say is I think our time and our growth has allowed us to see the signs and give us some like tools.
Yeah. And maybe this is nobody else, but the self-leadership has been really important to me because I think some of my upbringing, whether this was caught or taught, was you get married and he's the leader.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And so, A, I didn't get married. And I'm 45. I haven't gotten married yet. And B, what was not taught to me is self-leadership.
Yeah,
what was taught to me is someone is going to come along that is going to lead. And then what ended up happening in me is my natural leadership gifts that started to arise a lot. I mean, I was student body president in my high school. Like I've always been a leader. But as it started to really increase in my 20s and 30s, I started to feel out of place because the man was supposed to be the leader. And the church told me that in a lot of ways and has told all of us that where women can't lead. And so I didn't know what to do with my gifting or even self-leadership because I thought this guy was coming along to lead. And now...
Of course you didn't.
Right.
Of course you didn't. That is a confusing message to receive. Yeah. Being taught to live in your gifts and also... He's going to lead.
Yeah.
But where is he? Yeah. Of course you did. That's all I want to say about that. Thanks. Of course you did.
And even in dating, it has been, we make decisions together. He isn't in charge.
Yeah.
There is submission and all that when I get married. I don't necessarily believe in tons of submission in dating. I think it's you're building something together. But it is, all of that has affected my leadership as a single woman, leading myself and leading others. And we can maybe link to this, but someone stopped me last week at one of the Kane shows and told me how much my conversation with Christine Kane about getting ordained at Crosspoint a few years ago meant to her. Yeah. And so we should link to that one if people haven't heard my story of getting ordained at church. And I really had to go through a process to believe I could lead like that and that I can lead like that. And even, especially as a single person.
Right. Yeah, it definitely was it was a message. Like you said, whether it was caught or taught, either way.
Okay, now back to our SPL conversation.
I think one of the things we also bump up against, I saw this, I don't know if it was a meme or a reel, doesn't matter. Can't remember who it's from, but it said, as a single person, so often we realize that we're no one's priority, which is a really sad realization.
Yes.
And there's grief in that. And there's also responsibility and self-leadership. Like
Yes.
the other side of it is, okay, if no one else is thinking of me day to day and thinking of like my well-being day to day, then that is up to me. And yes, that's exhausting at times, but also how do I work towards the like healthiest version of myself spiritually, emotionally, physically?
That is one of the heartbreaking things about singleness for me.
Yeah.
Especially as a leader, is there is no one who takes care of me. Enneagram 7s, our question is, who's going to take care of me?
Yeah.
And that has been one of the things I've grieved the most. I mean, I cannot be more tempted to misbehave than on a Sunday night after I've preached all day.
Right.
And I am home on my couch at 7:00 and there is no one there. And I have no accountability of what I watch, eat, read, say, any of it. And it is because I want someone to take care of me and I want to be cared for and no one does. And that's okay. So, well, it's not okay. It's really sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're exactly right, Katie. What I've done is I now go out to dinner with someone when I'm done teaching. And it's not a long dinner and I don't have to talk a lot. And it's usually actually a lot of times I like to eat with someone I mentor because they want to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then I sit and listen.
Well, Annie, that is you choosing to intentionally spend time with someone who gets you outside of yourself too.
Yeah,
that's someone
great.
you're serving.
Yep.
And obviously you've served all day. You
you're
serve in
right.
leadership, but it gets you outside of yourself in a really beautiful way that reorients. I'm not saying this about you, but like when we think about how we can serve somebody else, it reorients our own ego in a
you're right.
very healthy way.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's, I mean, you're doing that, I think, pretty naturally as the leader that you are to yourself. But I want to call out that that's
Well, I had to
part
learn
of that equation.
Right? I'm not sure how natural it is.
Okay,
I kind of had
okay.
to learn from having Sunday nights after Crosspoint where I went home and would text some dude who, what am I doing?
who was
Or
not
like,
the solution.
Yeah.
Right.
Or like crush a pizza and pizza's not bad. Food is not bad. But the way I was using it was
Right.
not to fuel my body.
Right.
And I was going like, there is no worse night than a Sunday night. What am I doing? And so that's when I started going like, okay, what's another thing I could do?
Yeah. Yeah.
That doesn't exhaust me. I can't do a 3-hour dinner with someone who's crying. But I can do a 1-hour dinner with someone who I haven't gotten an update on in a couple of weeks.
Right.
So
Yeah.
self-leadership is so hard when you're also the one who soothes yourself.
Yeah. 100% it is.
Yeah.
So I wonder what are some of those practical things that we all have learned along the
Yeah.
way, whether it be through counseling or just trial and error, that we can encourage our friends in? Because I think we all are bumping up against these moments, you know. And I'm serious about the holiday season and the winter season. It mentally gets darker for a lot of people, myself included. And so
There's just a lot more stay home.
yeah.
There's a lot more like, oh, it's raining and it's 41 degrees. And
Yeah. It's dark at 4:30.
And I've got dinner here I could eat and I'll just cancel. Yeah, of course.
Right.
Ashley, what is that for you? Like when you're lonely in leadership and you have a house full of people. I mean, some of our friends watching and listening that are leading in spaces have kids at home.
Sure.
Or they have 4 roommates that they live with. And so they, versus Katie and I who go home to an empty house. What's the difference? How do you lead yourself? What are some practical things you're doing when you aren't home alone?
Well, there's a mental shift I make where I'm not leading here and I'm leading there. And so sometimes that is relief because I can transfer energy to just a different brain space.
Yeah.
But it is, well, I have to give myself permission to feel and then invitation to address, because it's not a problem solution. There's not a solution. Loneliness is it's a spectrum, I would say, for me.
Okay. Yeah, same.
And it's a tension, but I don't know that it is a problem we ever solve. So this is going to sound counterintuitive, but I actually, because my natural bent is to want to solve loneliness with just with another person. With connection or what?
And is probably that okay, though?
Yeah. But there's something to giving myself solitude as an answer to loneliness. I don't know if that makes any sense, and it might be because I'm in a house full of people and cats. But but the permission to sit down and read, like something enjoyable, or check with myself about, is this numbing or is this rest, and watch a show, or because I have to extract myself from other responsibilities to do those things. So I have to I do a lot of internal negotiating, because no one at my house is like, no, you may not read.
Right. Sure.
But there's an undercurrent of pull that I could always be serving someone else. And so I don't know if that makes sense, but that's a little bit, it sounds like self-care. So whatever feels like or looks like self-care to you, it might not be reading or watching a show, but giving yourself permission to feel it and plug in whatever relief without harm looks like, to borrow a term that you learned from your counselor that you have generously shared with us, and I apply all the time.
Yes, I do too. The 3% podcast guys talk about their dads, and they're mostly talking to men, but I love their show. But they say when they get home, they take 5 minutes in their car.
Oh, yeah.
And I do that too, even though I'm going into an empty house. I take 5 minutes and just sit in my car when I park and go like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I need to do laundry. I need this. Let's just sit for just a second and change brains.
Yeah. Your transition time.
Yeah. Even though my house is going to be empty when I get there.
Yeah, I think that's smart.
The other thing that I would say, one of the things I'm very careful about is when I am lonely, I want to watch shows that do not show me sex. Because I think that can lead to pornography, masturbation, all these things that you think are going to soothe you, and they don't actually. They don't actually soothe your heart. They may soothe your body. It does help your body, but it does not soothe your heart and your actual loneliness. And so I have an arsenal of shows that I can go to that are clean. Yeah. Great British Baking Show. When Calls the Heart. Anything on Hallmark, if I can do romantic but not sexual. Poldark, that's on Netflix again. PBS. Any of the, I'm not watching Bridgerton when I'm lonely.
Right.
Good call.
And if I'm being very honest, I try not to watch any of that ever because it's reading a menu I can't order from.
Yeah.
And it doesn't serve me. Right. And so I don't read books that have graphic sex in them, and I don't watch shows because it is a menu I can't order from.
Yeah.
Or I'm choosing not to order from. And so I think that can be a temptation that bites us, is when you are lonely in leadership, what you watch for relief can actually lead to sin if you're not careful.
Yeah.
And so, but that could also be watching a show where people are like Crazy Rich Asians watching that movie and then buying a bunch of stuff on Amazon. So it doesn't just have to be sexual. For me, I stay away from that particularly.
Yeah.
But there are other sins that could lead you to, other shows that could lead you to greed or lead you to envy or, so just being thoughtful. What's my arsenal of shows? Sports for me too. What's my arsenal of shows that are healthy for me to watch if that is one of the ways that I need relief?
Yes. Yeah, and I think also knowing like what those pitfalls are for you.
That's
so
right.
If you are one that leans towards online shopping, like too much online shopping, then know like, okay, how do I set myself up so I'm not going to go there?
Right.
Because literally the loneliest moments are the moments where I make the dumbest decisions.
Yeah, that's right.
So if we can stop it from the start.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I just know going home in August when I was just crushed, I knew what I could watch and what I couldn't watch.
Yeah.
And I went through seasons. Y'all heard me. I was out telling Lillian, because Lillian loves Great British Baking Show. I was crushing old seasons of Great British Baking Show because I know it is relaxing for my brain. It is good and it is healthy for me.
And I think, like you're both saying, like knowing those pitfalls, but also just following through, like being a good friend to yourself. Like, I know this is a temptation and I know what would make it worse and what would make it better. And just being the good friend to yourself to choose
That's right.
the better option is, I mean, that's where we get to be the answer to our own loneliness, is being a good friend to ourselves in those types of moments.
Good. For sure.
And that's whether you're consider yourself a leader or not. That's just if you're
and
lonely.
Single or married.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, be honest.
That's right.
With your primary person, which is yourself,
Yes.
so that you can set her up to feel good tomorrow. You know?
My other thing is go to sleep.
Right?
Yeah, take a nap.
Go to sleep. Yeah, if you need to, AG1 has AGZ. There are a lot of healthy things that help you sleep better that are not taking drugs. Though if you need to take sleeping meds, we're not anti-sleeping meds. I've taken a lot of sleeping meds in my life, and the healthier versions, the AGZ, the Beam, those kind of things, go to sleep.
Yeah.
Like, if you are super lonely and you are tempted to be a ding dong and do something you regret, go to sleep.
Yeah.
Go get in your bed, leave your phone somewhere else, go to sleep.
Or also go outside. Like 9 times out of 10, my loneliest moment is like on my couch or in my bedroom. And so I'm like, get out of the house.
Yeah.
And I don't care if it's freezing cold outside. Like, walk outside for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Or
breathing cold air is actually like it resets your nervous system.
Yeah.
So you're like legitimately talking about like actually helping your body reset.
right. Get some fresh air.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath.
A friend of mine who's in recovery and is in counseling, the counselor said, the number one thing I want you to do is 20 minutes outside every day.
I love that.
Just 20
What a
minute
great
walk every day.
prescription.
Yeah.
Any of us could benefit from that, I bet.
Joe Saxton says, the weather's not the problem, your clothes are the problem. So no
Layer
matter
up.
how cold or wet it is
she
out there,
knows.
she knows.
Right.
Yeah.
You can, I look forward to having Joe on Single Purpose League, particularly for Leadership Mastermind, because I feel like she does have such insight into leading well. But one of the things she says is put a jacket on, get outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is what I'm excited about SPL Leadership Mastermind, because we could keep going for another hour. I feel like we're just at the tipping point of what we can do. But our goal today was to acknowledge loneliness in leadership, and that we have all three faced it pretty profoundly. And I have done it wrong a lot. I've handled it wrong a lot.
We all have.
And I still will. I'm not done. The truth is, I'm still human. I'm going to do this wrong. I'm probably going to do something wrong today in my leadership, and we will keep going.
Yes. That's right.
Okay, what are you thinking, Katie?
Well, I think we can often disqualify ourselves because of these things that we're talking about. Like, if we start to bump up against any of these emotions or feelings, we start to be like, well, I'm not equipped to do this. Like, I'm not equipped to lead. And so, one, how do we combat that? But two, like, let's talk about why our voices as single women are important at the table.
So let me tell you a way my personality is different than yours. So there are some leaders listening who disqualify themselves, and there are some leaders who go, oh, I can do this. I just won't feel anything. So those are kind of the two spectrums. Y'all will not be surprised here, I've never thought I couldn't lead. I've never thought I couldn't be the one in the room leading. I have just shut down everything I feel and bulldozed.
Yeah.
Whereas I think y'all both would more be inclined to, I'm not capable of this.
Oh, yeah. I talk myself out of it every day.
Yes. And I wish I could. I wish I had that humility. Instead, I go, oh, I can do this. I'm just going to burn people on the way, including myself. And so both of those extremes are wrong. And we need to tell ourselves the truth. Some of us need to turn on the faucet of leadership, and some of us need to turn on the faucet of feelings. And both need more humility, honestly, because it's pride for both of us.
It's pride both ways. Yeah, you're right.
But you answer why we need a single women's voice at the leadership table.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking back to the start of this conversation when we were just kind of talking about our team and the different seats that we sit in. Like, the reason why a team like this works so well, and any team can work so well, is because we bring different backgrounds, experience, all of it to the table. So like Ashley's experience as an Ashley, but also as a wife and a mom, helps her lead differently. Our experience as single women help us lead differently. You know, your experience is different than mine, even both as single women. It's also why like diversity matters. It's why like diversity across the board matters, because
age, race, marital status, history.
Yeah. Because we don't want to lead from a place where we're in a bubble, where we're making decisions from, you know, one perspective.
That's right.
And so I think on those days where it feels like, I don't know if I'm supposed to do this, this feels too hard, I'm not being heard, I don't feel seen, I just want to remind this community that like your voice does matter at the table.
Yes.
Yeah. No one has the exact combination of your passions, your skills, and your experiences.
Yes.
Yeah.
And your passions, your skills, and your experiences represent other people and their experiences. And so when you bring those, it matters. It changes things and it represents others.
Yes.
A practice that I have had when I notice that I am other to the people I'm leading with. So I'm the only woman in the room, or I'm the only married person in the room, or whatever, XYZ. I'm not a fan of like placing labels on ourselves and limiting ourselves, but I do think there's kind of a little like self-talk exercise that becomes helpful. Like, well, my perspective as a married woman, or my perspective as a single female leader, or my perspective as XYZ, reminds me that I've got something unique to bring here.
Yeah.
And so like anytime you need to remind yourself like, oh, well, my perspective as a single female leader, like bring it.
Yeah.
It's needed.
Yeah.
So.
And I would say to the women built like me who go, yeah, my perspective matters, and I get my strength and worth from talking at the table. You can listen, and you do not have to prove you deserve to be there. You were invited to the table. So you don't have to prove anything. Go sit at that table full of married people. Go sit at that table full of men. Go sit at that table full of married men. And you do not have to prove anything. Just be humble and be wise and speak up at the right times. Yeah. But you do not, your worth is not going to come from whether they give you flowers at the end of that.
That's really good. Yeah.
And so that's the other side of that coin is sometimes our value comes from knowing our voice is valuable at a table.
Yeah.
And you don't need that. You are already valuable.
Yeah.
So some of our leaders need to hear, you're valuable, speak up. And some of our leaders need to hear, you're valuable already. Right. You're all right. You're at the table.
It's good.
Christine Caine says their invitation is your permission. Yeah. If that leadership group invited you to sit at the table, that's your permission to show up and be you humbly.
Right.
And so you did not get more value by getting invited. You need to remember your value and speak up.
It's good. I love that.
I think that's what's going to be fun about us continuing to lead SPL together and leading Leadership Mastermind together is our leadership styles are very different, but we are all leading.
Yeah.
And we have different issues inside of our leadership styles. And that's really good.
Yeah.
Because I'm in an experience now on the road with Caine. I don't mind saying this, where I'm getting to practice humility and getting my ego in check every single day because I'm not the headliner. And every tour Ashley and I have done for the last 8 years, I've been the headliner.
Yeah.
It is so good for me to remember my value is not my seat at this table. My value is I'm at the table. My value is I'm Annie F. Downs.
Right.
And I am loved and cared for, and I am me. Like my value exists before I'm ever even invited to speak on a stage, right? The God saying to Jesus after he was baptized, well done, right? Like, this is my son in whom I'm well pleased. And before he did anything, right? People hear that all the time. But that's the reminder I'm getting every night on this tour. And that's really important for some of us as leaders to have opportunities that check us. There's other leaders who need more opportunities to be invited, because that's what's going to check their leadership into right standing.
Sure. I love that. Yeah, I do feel like we're just on the tip of the iceberg with
right?
all of the conversation we can have around this topic.
Yeah. So talk to our SPL members who are interested in Leadership Mastermind. How do they change their... What do you get with Leadership Mastermind, and how do you change your membership if you're already a member of SPL and you want to switch and make sure you're getting the resources for Leadership Mastermind?
Yeah. So if you switch to Leadership Mastermind, you're still getting everything that we offer for SPL. Our monthly podcasts, our chapter meetings, the chat groups, they're all still there. What you get in addition is we're going to do a monthly lunch and learn over Zoom. So we have a little bit more opportunity to have some interaction.
See each other's faces.
Yeah, see each other's faces. We're going to ask some questions where people get to share, and we'll have an hour to do that once a month together. Of course, we understand if that's your lunch staff meeting and you can't come, it will be recorded so you can watch it. But there is also a Facebook group for all of our Leadership Mastermind members, so that you have an opportunity to connect with each other. The conversations have already started there. People are sharing where they lead, and there's connections being made. People are like, oh, that's my hometown, or
that's another answer to leadership as a single woman is complex, but it doesn't have to be lonely. Meet each other outside of your organization, people you can trust and talk to, and process with. What a gift.
Yeah.
What a gift.
Yeah, for sure. So that's really special. And if you want to switch your membership from our basic single purpose league to Mastermind, go into your settings where membership is listed, and you can find there where to do that. If any of it gets confusing, you can always email us at singlepurposeleague@anniefdowns.com. We can help. But
perfect.
Yeah,
that's great. And particularly SPL IRL, we talked to a couple of widows who were like, we need more resources, help us.
Yeah.
So we are going to continue to expand what SPL offers as people tell us what they need. So Leadership Mastermind is not for everyone. Great. That's fine. We only want to serve the people in Leadership Mastermind that are really that are in this unique spot. And then there are widows that we're going to figure out how to serve better and different. And there are divorced women we're going to figure out how to serve better and different. And we're going to continue to do that. So this is just our first foray into serving a specific group that has reached out to us repeatedly and said, this is really important to us and we need help. And so,
yeah, that's it.
Great. Well done. Ash, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I know.
We're going to call your phone a friend number pretty frequently at Leadership Mastermind.
You know where to find me. Making a lot of appearances.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, you guys, wasn't that an important conversation? What ends up happening is about once a year, maybe twice a year in SPL, we have a bunch of those women say, can I share this episode with my friends? And we just knew today would be one of those. And so we've made it shareable by putting it here on That Sounds Fun. If you've never joined Single Purpose League and you are an unmarried woman, whether it's divorced, never married, widowed, we would love to have you as a part of the conversations we are having. So if Single Purpose League or the SPL Leadership Mastermind would serve you or a friend, you can head over to singlepurposeleague.com. That's where you can learn more and sign up. Plus, our very first Lunch and Learn for the Leadership Mastermind is actually happening tomorrow, November 5th. It's a great time right now to get signed up so that you can join us for that tomorrow. If you enjoyed this episode, I think you'll also love episode 980 about a theology of singleness with Pastor Ashley Anderson, or our leadership Q&A with me and our COO, Ashley Warren. That's episode 998. If you've got any questions from this episode, I get it. For starters, if you're in SPL or an SPL Leadership Mastermind, there's a place on Patreon to have these conversations. So do it. Go there and talk to each other. SPL Leadership Mastermind also has a private Facebook group where we are talking about this episode exactly. Or you can drop your questions in the Q&A box on your Spotify app. If you're a Spotify listener, we can answer them there. Or make sure you're following us at That Sounds Fun podcast, and we'll try to answer them. Also, follow Single Purpose League. We've got a lot of conversation happening there as well. If you need anything else from me, I'm embarrassingly easy to find. Annie F. Downs on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, the TikTok, Out on the Road with Kane. Anywhere you need me, you can find me. I think that's it for me today, friends. Go out or stay home and do something that sounds fun to you, and I will do the same. Today, what sounds fun to me is I'm going tonight to see Beauty and the Beast at the Tennessee Performing Arts Center. I cannot wait. I love this musical. Tale as old as time, you guys. Y'all have a great week. We'll see you back here on Monday with one of our very favorites. It's Lisa Turkhurst. We'll see y'all then.